Hey, everyone. Hello, life extensioners. That's what you like to call them, right?
Life extenders.
Life is so...
Maybe it should be life extensioners. You're right. I think you have it better.
Anyways, welcome to Life Extension Live. I'm your host, Dr. Mike, and then I have my co-host,
Dr. Crystal.
I'm pointing the wrong way. Wait, where's my camera? Right there. Dr. Crystal. Welcome. Great to see you.
Yes, good to see you too.
And we have Robson in the background. Hi, Robson. Can he say anything right now? I don't know if he can say something. No, he can't.
I don't know, but I think we also have Brittany with us.
Brittany, yeah, Brittany's helping. So just some quick things. You can ask questions, you can comment, and Brittany, who's part of our social team, can answer. She can share those with us. So you guys, we can have a live show together, right?
That's awesome. Right.
So today, since it's what is today? March 10th. What's coming up? What's coming up, Dr. Crystal?
Spring.
Yeah. No, it's funny because in Florida, we've been in spring for about 2 months. So it's a little difficult for us to get that, but it was a harsh winter. It still is in some places. Cold, a lot of snow. But this is health is in bloom. We're going to spring forward to, rejuvenation and just just an energy for taking care of ourselves. And we have a lot to share with you today. We're going to talk about allergies, right?
Yes.
I deal with that. I do. I tell my stories, allergies. We're going to talk about the time change and what that means, right? We're going to talk about some exercises we like. And we have a special video for you of my co-host trying to swim. She's not a good swimmer.
Trying to swim? Yes. Okay.
You already told me that's not one of your best skills. And then food.
Yes.
Seasonal food and why it's important to eat seasonal food. So stick with us through this entire show. And we're going to get started right away with allergies. And I know, for people who don't have allergies, they probably get sick of these kind of topics. But for those of us, so in South Florida, we don't get a lot of the seasons. But here's what happens to me. Anytime there's a change, like a small little cool front, we'll call it, that comes in, it just brings in things from, I guess, the north, but whatever. And for like 2 days, I'm stuffy. I'm miserable. I don't like it. So let's talk about that. So for me, it's kind of an inconvenience. But Dr. Crystal, you think it's more than just an inconvenience, right?
Well, it is, Dr. Mike. It's associated with asthma. I don't think you have asthma, but when you're suffering from allergies, chronic allergies, ear infections, sinus infections, my husband has really bad allergies. And he suffered from a couple of sinus infections. And so it can get really bad if it's not managed properly.
Yeah, my nose is already starting to run. See, because we just had it. We had a weather change a little bit. It's a little cooler right now in South Florida.
That is true.
And so I'm already, I feel that here. And I know Blake he's told me about his allergy. Do you have allergy issues?
I have zero allergies. However, I don't know if it's something with us being kind of sheltered in and not really getting out. I'm starting to have what could be seasonal allergies. It's not really bad. But I'm on top of it. I am nipping it in the bud.
That's interesting because we've talked about outdoor pollution versus indoor pollution before. Maybe check your vents and stuff. Check that kind of stuff, right? There's something there. Yeah. And I think we're going to have other shows where we talk about going green in your house, going green. Yeah, that's a whole different show. So I think without a doubt, 90%, I'm just making that up, 90% of Americans who have allergies, they go right to over-the-counter drugs, prescription drugs, what have you. Again, and we're not against that. We're not, please understand. You guys know we support many different approaches to things, but does that always solve the problem for people?
No, it's just managing the symptoms. And so, as you mentioned, if you are just really desperate, you're having a bad day and you need something to help manage those symptoms, then, you know, that's fine. We support that. However, you can't ignore things that's going to kind of address the underlying issues with your allergies. So that could be, you know, targeting gut health. It could be cleaning your environment. My husband, I finally, because of my little allergy spells that I've been having, I'm finally okay with getting rid of the carpet. And he is like, hallelujah.
That's
no
big.
Carpet.
That's big, right? Like, why was that an issue for you? Why did you want to keep the carpet?
Because I'm all about like touchy-feely textures. I love carpet.
Throw rugs. That's what you do. That's what I have. Yes. Yeah, carpet is one of the worst.
You know, a couple of days of suffering, and now I'm on board.
You know, especially if you ever go into a new home, new carpet, that's when some of those toxins are being released. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of carpet. I don't know if you're watching the show right now. What do you think about carpet? Let us know your opinions. Should that just be removed, and should we just do tile and wood? Right? I think that's a great conversation. So tell us, why do we have allergies, and what's the physiological thing going on?
Well, our body is mounting a response to everyday things. So it could be dust, it could be pet dander, it could be, you know, whatever greenery or plants that grows in your area. But we are producing antibodies, in particular IgE antibodies, which then causes our immune cells to start making histamine, and hence why the antihistamines are very supportive with helping to manage the allergy symptoms.
It's interesting. Have you ever looked into like the theories of how maybe this all evolved and stuff? Have you ever seen? Because I looked into that. It was years ago, right? And there was this idea that maybe, you know, 20,000, 30,000, go back as far as you want, that there were maybe more dangerous environmental allergens. And so we developed a strong, robust immune system for that. But those have kind of died off with those plants. They died off. Those allergens died off with those trees, whatever. But yet we still have an immune system that's kind of primed for that. And so we get a little pollen and we're like, you know, like it's dangerous. Yes, have you heard that before?
I haven't, but, you know, that's one theory. I've heard the hygiene hypothesis. Maybe also, you know, being not being breastfed, bottle fed.
There's a lot of different ones. Yeah.
Delivered, you know, cesarean versus natural childbirth. So there are many kind of underlying factors, but I do believe kind of focusing on gut healing and focusing on balancing out the immune system to try to stop the body from producing so many antibodies to the antigens.
So what do we, so if we're gonna focus a little bit more on the natural side of things, what do we offer? What can we offer your husband, myself, anybody else that is suffering a little bit from allergies? Because this is about getting out. It's spring now. Yes. We want people to go outside, enjoy life, and run around and go to the parks and do all that kind of stuff. What can we do on the natural side to help people?
Well, dried yeast fermentate is something that is very promising, some good clinical data.
But wait. You got something. Well, hold on. Because the minute you say yeast, people are like, yeast, and then you say fermentate, they're like, what? So maybe we need to back up a little bit and talk about yeast and fermentate.
Right. So, one, a lot of people think yeast is bad. Not all yeast are bad. Do we know? Well, if you look at the definition of a probiotic, that can include bacteria, yeast, viruses. These are all, it just depends on the type. It depends on, the type of yeast will determine whether it's healthy for you or maybe not so healthy for you.
And whether we can drink beer from it or something, or have a nice glass of wine.
Right. So the type of yeast that we're talking about is basically baker's yeast. It's what's used. And fermentate is kind of the byproducts of that fermentation process. So we know fermentation, you take the yeast and kind of deprive them of oxygen, add in maybe some type of sugar product, and the end result, when you mix the two, you get enzymes, you get proteins, different peptides, polysaccharides. These are all produced during that fermentation process. And so that is what we call the fermentate.
Gotcha. So there's an interesting story how this was all kind of discovered, right? You want to tell us about that? And I think you even did you find an image of the factory where all this happened or something? Yeah,
I did, because it paints the picture. I'm a visual person, but it was a unique discovery. Factory workers in Iowa were producing a specialized yeast culture when it was discovered that the factory workers were taking fewer sick days than the workers in the office area. And what we realized after some pilot studies and additional studies, that the factory workers were exposed to the yeast daily. It's a probiotic yeast daily during inhalation, just, working with it. And they found that the factory workers had higher levels of IgA, which is one of those beneficial antibodies found in the mucosal membranes. That's kind of the first line of defense. Higher levels of NK cells, or natural killer cells, which are your body's first cells, first line of defense as well. And then now we have clinical studies that can show demonstrate benefits with helping to minimize allergy symptoms.
It's one of the greatest things about science and medicine and nutrition is the very first thing that we do is we just observe. We look at things. Wow, that group is doing better than that group, or what have you. And then from there we get this idea that yeast may be involved, and now we have the validation of that, right, with clinical research. I know. Let's go through the study you presented to me a couple of days ago. I thought was awesome.
Yes.
Right? I think this is a solid clinical research study that shows the benefit of these yeast fermentates in reducing allergies. So let's go through that.
Yeah, so there were 96 volunteers, history of seasonal allergies and hay fever. They took 500 milligrams of dried yeast fermentate once daily, 12-week period. During the first 6 weeks, took place during the year's highest pollen count period. And so what the researchers found is a decrease in white blood cells in their nasal mucus. These are white blood cells that, are involved with histamine release. They also noticed a reduction in the severity of runny noses and nasal congestion. And lastly, those taking the yeast had 43 fewer days with nasal congestion.
Wow, that's awesome.
Amazing for someone who struggles with allergies. Yeah. It's amazing research.
And how many people was that again?
96.
96. Yeah. So that's a decent sized clinical trial. I know in the supplement industry, we it's expensive doing these kind of trials. So we don't always have the billions of dollars like some of those big companies do to recruit like 10,000 people and all they get. So but in this industry, that's a good study, good result, significant result, and that's the yeast. I think that's going to be new information for a lot of people.
Well, I hope it's helpful.
Yeah, for sure. Now, so that's yeast helping you with allergies. By the way, is your husband Blake has he tried the yeast?
He actually, when I started taking it myself, because this is one of the strategies that I'm incorporating.
Oh, because you're starting to have issues. Yeah.
Right. So I'm starting to take it, and he saw me, I discussed it with him, and so he's going to start taking it as well. So we'll see.
Nice. All right. I'd like to hear the result of that. Now, topic number 2 for springing forward is that we now have to move our clocks forward, right? We fall back and we spring forward.
Yes.
That's this weekend.
That's this weekend. Yes.
Yes. So this weekend we're going to, so it's what, in the Eastern Standard Time right now, it's 3:16. It's going to be 4:16.
Right.
Okay, there's debate. Does that really affect us as much as people think? I actually believe it kind of can, but there are others that are like, oh, whatever, just get over it, move on. What do you think?
I know it affects us. It affects me, but there is research, thinking outside of myself. I actually found research that the number of accidents the Monday following the shift in time increases, and it's all about our circadian rhythms. They do not adjust immediately. When our circadian rhythms keeps us in balance with the morning and the evening and daytime and nighttime, and it controls so many things in our body. And so when our body thinks it's 9 p.m., it's really 10 p.m. We have to wake up earlier. And one solution is actually melatonin.
Yeah.
Melatonin can be very beneficial with helping us to adapt and adjust. So when it's 9 p.m., but your body thinks it's 10 and you want to, or 10 p.m. and your body thinks it's 9.
So you're already getting it mixed up.
Right. Then adding in some melatonin before bed can maybe help you to get to bed a little bit earlier until your body, slowly adjusts to the change. But yes, there is clinical research indicating that there's a struggle.
Yeah, I believe it. I've lectured on the circadian rhythms, that and stuff, and I've never heard the accident thing. So this coming Monday, which would be what, the 15th, whatever it is, that right?
The 15th.
So we know there's going to be more accidents on that day simply because we changed the time. But our brain doesn't know that. Our brain's not like, it's set with light and day, night, right? And it's like we change the time and we just think everything's going to be fine, but it's not. Internally, there's a rhythm that we're supposed to follow, right?
Exactly. And you're losing an hour of sleep. And for some people that can have, an impact. And so the goal is to try to get to bed, force yourself to get to bed earlier. And that's a challenge.
Well, technically, you should probably start doing that now. Like, don't wait for the time change, right?
That's a good point, Dr. Mike.
Like maybe a week or so before you start trying to make that adjustment, right? So that it's not, I guess, such a shock, which is true. No, we know that the human body can remain in a balanced state if you give it time to adjust slowly, right? The body's really good about correcting things over, but when you do things fast, that's when things get crazy, right?
No. So are you saying I need to go to bed at 8 o'clock tonight, Dr. Mike?
I'm not telling you anything what to do. I'm no better than that, but it's maybe a thought. All right. So now let's go to something we're calling rejuvenation. And what does this really mean overall to my overall health as we're going into an exciting new season of growth? I think, what did we say, blooming, you know, that kind of stuff. So let's talk about rejuvenation. And the first thing was exercise.
Yes.
And we've talked about exercise a lot. And as we were preparing for this, we had an idea to talk about a specific type of exercise, didn't we?
Yes, swimming.
And when are we going to show the clip?
We can go ahead and show it now. So my husband swims every other day in our pool. That's him swimming. And you'll see a clip of me. So now I'm the struggle swim is what he calls it. It's like, Crystal, you're about to drown.
Okay, wait. Stop. Robson, please back that up. There's a shot in there I want you to pause. Go back to Robson. Please go back to the beginning. I saw your goggles. We're going to pause it on Crystal's goggles. Now, she's coming up. Now, look how good his rhythm is. And then here comes Crystal struggling, barely staying alive. Now, pause it right about now or so.
No,
now, pause. Oh, you can kind of see.
You can see it a little bit.
They're blue or something.
They're my son's goggles.
Oh, that is
my 3-year-old's goggles, because I'm just starting the swimming, so I don't have like a real pair yet, because I'm not sure if this is something I want to continue. So his goggles are stretched to the max. They're super tight on my eyes. I look ridiculous, but I'm doing it.
Love it. I love it. So, why did we want to talk about swimming? What are the benefits of swimming, versus what we want, do whatever you got to do to get out there and be active. Right.
Yes.
That's fine. So this is not swimming versus whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there are very specific benefits to swimming versus other types of exercises. So why don't you teach us about that?
One, it's a full body workout, and the cardiorespiratory strain for me, it really increases your heart rate.
Because you're trying to survive. You're trying not to drown. You're like really stressed out.
Yes. But, impact of gravity is less in the water. Better range of motion. So I love to get in the pool and stretch as well. It prevents overheating usually, and it's fun.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah. Did you know I started swimming for the Natadors, which is a swim club in Southern California, when I was 8 years old?
Oh.
Yep. My mom would drop me off. I think it was mostly just to get me out of the house early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we had swim lessons before school. Yeah. So I've been swimming and enjoying that for many, many years. And I think it's just a great way to engage, like you said, the whole body, right? It's not just about biceps or triceps. Oh gosh.
And even if you can't swim, now, obviously we say this with caution because we don't want anyone getting in the water and drowning, but buying some of these weights. I used to teach aquatic fitness, like water aerobics, Dr. Mike. And you
can barely swim. How could you teach?
I stayed in the shallow end, and we had our noodles. We put our noodles around us, and it's a really good workout.
No, I like it. It is. It's great. And so finding a gym that maybe has indoor swimming, water aerobics, whatever. It is a great way to exercise. But let's bring this back more now into nutrition and to supplementation. Let's talk about protein. Yeah, because this is a big debate in people in the fitness world. Like, how important is extra protein when you're starting to exercise? What proteins are good to build muscle, help you recover from exercise? So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, protein provides amino acids, which are the building blocks of bone, of muscle, of skin. These amino acids are needed to help to create hormones, to help to create enzymes. So you need protein And for some people, they may not be receiving good quality protein, maybe not enough protein. We do know that the recommendations kind of increase as one gets older in age. So, you know, we feel like it's good, even if you're not working out,
Yeah.
you know, supplementing with protein, a whey or a plant. I wouldn't get caught up in, you know, the differences between the two. There are some people that will say, oh, you have to have it from whey. It's really about the dose. It's about making sure you're having the adequate amount. So, for example, the RDA is about 0.8 grams per kilogram of weight. And it sounds complicated, but what I typically suggest is to take your weight, divide it by 2.2, and that number is a good starting spot.
Of how much protein.
Right. Yeah. Just keep it simple.
Yeah. And I think you even showed me once for like a 150-pound person, that would be, what is it? Like
about 68 grams.
60. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and that 150 is just a broad number and you have to adjust for that. But, yeah. And so, how do you like to do it? Do you think it's best to do those in capsules? Is it best to do them in powders and smoothies? Is there any, or does it really matter as long as you're getting that amount?
Well, as long as you're getting that amount and spacing it out. So even if you do a powder, you know, you want to have that powder maybe between your meals. So kind of help you to make it through those moments where you kind of gravitate towards carbs, snacks. That's a good time to make a healthy protein shake. Now, the smoothies are great, but sometimes the smoothies can start adding more sugar than you probably should have, especially if you're making the smoothies with some type of flavored sugary yogurt, and putting bananas and mangoes and a lot of those, you know, things. They're great for antioxidants, but sometimes they can be higher in sugar. So I typically suggest, you know, the protein, maybe use some type of plant-based milk or even, you know, just regular milk, and maybe add a scoop of flaxseed, maybe a scoop of almond butter, something like that, versus, you know, adding tons of fruit.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like questions about whether you should do that, you know, before you work out, after. For the average person, I think those kind of questions are more for serious fitness people. Like let's be honest. I mean, watching you swim like that, yeah, come on. You just need to take some extra protein to make sure you don't drown. I mean, that's about, you know, like, come on. And for me too, like I do I love my elliptical trainer. It's sitting right there.
Yes.
It's not hardcore for me. It's just keeping active, whatever. So I don't want people to get wrapped up and caught in this debate about when and what. And not that it's not a good debate, but for most people, I just don't think it's all that beneficial. Just take the protein, shake, smoothie, breakfast, lunch, whatever you want to do, get the extra protein, and it's going to help you.
Yes. Right? And I want to clarify, I'm not anti-fruit smoothies, but I have seen some of them with, you know, 50 grams of sugar. And then
you know why I don't do smoothies. I told you. Let's see if you remember.
I don't remember. I have failed you, Dr. Mike.
I'm allergic to bananas, and most people put bananas in smoothies, so I can't have it.
Yeah. I do remember.
Don't ever offer me a smoothie.
At least not one with bananas, but use
mangoes. Mangoes would be a good substitute. Which brings us to the last section of today's Life Extension Live, and that's seasonal foods.
Yes.
I think this is a good trend. I think it's an important trend. It's basically eating what's in season: spring, summer, fall, winter. So tell us what's in season right now.
Ooh, well, I have some of what's in season here with me. If Robson would like to kind of bring the camera back so I can show you some of foods and vegetables. So we have kale, mushrooms are in season, carrots, asparagus.
Wait. Back up. Go back to the carrot. Did you put a smiley face?
No.
That carrot closest to the asparagus looks like a smiley face. 2 eyes and a mouth. Robson, please tell me you see that. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Look at it. It's a happy carrot.
Wow.
I actually thought you did that on purpose.
No, I didn't. Maybe that'll be the first one I'll take a bite. Apples are in season. And we actually have a list. I know Robson was going to play a clip while I take a bite of my smiley face carrot. But, you know, it's seasonal it's trending now. Even with restaurants, you can ask them, hey, what's fresh? Do you have a seasonal menu? But tips is to go to a farmer's market, think local, or even try, you know, growing your own fruit and vegetables. But I was able to go to the USDA's website, and on their website, they create a guide for you. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Nice. It tells you what is in season during those seasons. And then it helps you to create a nice shopping list for yourself so that you can now have a variety of foods. You are saving the planet, because when they're in season, that means that we're not having to ship them all over the world. You know, when you're purchasing local, you're supporting your community, and it's sustainable and it's good for you.
Yeah. I like that idea that when you eat in season, number one, it just sounds better for you, right? Like the earth is providing certain foods at certain times. And it's based on your region and where you're at and the environment you live in. It just makes sense to connect with that, right?
Oh, yes. There's the list from the USDA's website. And so some of the foods that I showed.
Ooh, I love peas.
From this list.
I love peas. I love them.
Oh, kiwi?
No, peas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
I add a lot of butter. Does that ruin it?
Maybe a little bit, yes. A lot of butter, or just, you know, a moderate amount of butter, but olive oil.
A lot of butter. So yeah, but I like that idea of, like, you know, you're connected with the environment, you're connected with the planet and what Earth is doing and what the soils want to produce at that time, right? And it just it sounds good, it makes sense, and I love that idea. But then I think you bring up a really, really good point. When you're eating something that is not in season where you live, it usually means it came from a far way away.
Yes.
Right? Or it means it was picked in season where you live and they're preserving it in some way.
Very true.
So that they can bring it out at the grocery store and so that you can eat it. So I love that idea. Onions are great. Peas are great. So there's your spring list of fruits and vegetables. And now you wanted to say something, seafood, right? Did you want to say something about that?
Yes. Seafood populations migrate. So eating in season not only applies to fruit and vegetables, but also seafood. So don't forget about that. You know, go to the fish market, find out what is the fresh catch. You can usually see that that's available at restaurants.
Do you like oysters?
I do.
You know, oysters are only really in season for a very short period of time. They come from usually the Gulf or the Northeast. And eating the oysters outside of that, they don't taste as good. You know, they're mealy. It's
I won't do it.
It's not as good.
I'm an oyster snob, and they have to be in season.
It's a great example, right? Like, and we don't think we think of fruit and vegetables as seasons, but not necessarily the animal proteins and that kind of stuff that maybe we consume. Wow. We're in bloom. Our health is blooming, Dr. Crystal.
Yes, get out. You know, it was a rough winter, not so much in Florida, but we still have empathy for those in the colder regions. And so with spring, now's the time to spring back into life.
And listen, great show, great information. And I hope every single one of you learned something today. Don't forget, you can share these shows, right? And they'll be available on our Facebook page for a while. So share this with your family. And specifically, when it comes to the allergy part, Life Extension has put together a really good protocol that goes into great detail about dealing with seasonal allergies. And that's at lifeextension.com/allergy. So go check that out. Dr. Crystal, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Dr. Mike. It was good seeing you.
Do me a favor, though. If you're going to keep swimming, maybe you got to get those little floaty things for your arms. That might help a little bit.
Well, I had a pair there. I don't have them anymore, but
do something. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. Stick to the shallow end. Stick to the water aerobics.
Back and forth.
Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We are so happy that you spent time with us today, and we hope you learned something. I'm Dr. Mike. Thanks for watching.